Joining us now to talk about how his state is responding to all of this, we have the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine. Governor, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to talk to us. Governor, you were, from the very beginning, you have been one of the most aggressive governors in terms of the actions that you have taken to fight the coronavirus. You shut down major events before you had a single case in the state. You barred spectators from major sporting events before the leagues canceled their seasons. You were the first to declare a statewide school shutdown, and you even shut down the polls. You postponed a primary. Was it worth it? Are those actions working?
Well, I think they're working, but we have to keep going. It's like I don't know what quarter of the football game we're in, but you got to keep playing. And so what I'm asking all Ohioans to do who are watching today, and what I ask them every day, is stay home. Continue to have that distance, continue to use good judgment. I want to really thank our mayors around Ohio. They're doing a phenomenal job. I talk to the big city mayors every morning, 11:30. They're really doing a good job in making sure the message is out to all their citizens as well. So it's a team effort, and I think Ohioans are doing well, but we got a long way to go.
All of those actions having a tremendous economic toll in your state, just like they are across the country. Last week, more than 272,000 people in Ohio filed for unemployment, nearly 500,000 over the last 2 weeks. And Ohio recently had the second largest increase nationwide in jobless claims. Only Pennsylvania had more. So what is your message to people in Ohio about how they are going to get through this financially?
What the federal government has done, what our congressional delegation has done, our senators and representatives and the president is certainly going to help. Our emphasis has been on let's get through this. Let's get as many people through it as we can. Let's stay alive because the evidence shows that when you look back at past pandemics, communities that did the distancing, did the things that they need to do, not only did they save more lives, but they were healthier and they were coming out and they were healthier from an economic point of view. A recent study that was done by some economists I saw showed that. So, it's not either or. It's not one choice or the other. We can do both. We can save lives. Let's get through this and then let's move on. One of the things I've done is put together a group of 20 businessmen and women to advise us. That's going to be helpful as we move forward with moving our economy forward.
Governor, 9 states still have not issued formal statewide stay-at-home orders. Is it time for a nationwide stay-at-home order to go into place?
Well, yeah, I don't know the situation in all those states. I don't know where they are, but I think it would be helpful if every governor did this. I think it's something that should be done. The vast majority, I think over 90% of the population of this country is now under a stay-at-home order. Every state surrounding us has done it and did it very aggressively.
Do you think President Trump should perhaps call these governors and say, hey, it's time to do this? I mean, they're all Republican governors. You're a Republican governor. Could you do something?
Well, I think the president has signaled very strongly what he thinks should happen. I'm watching the same news that you're watching. And let me just say this, the White House has been very responsive to us. Last Sunday, I called the White House, I called the president. He was able to intervene with the FDA, get them moving faster on something that was very, very important to us as we fought back against the coronavirus. So they've been very aggressive, and every time we've reached out to them, they've been there.
Final question, Governor. I only have a few seconds left. President Trump has said that he's not going to wear a mask. You've said that you do intend to wear a face mask. Do you think President Trump should maybe rethink that and when he steps outside wear a mask, set a good example for all Americans?
No, the president does what he needs to do. What I said was, I didn't wear it at my press conference either, but what I said is when I was in public, then I would do that. My press conference is a small number of people. The president's is a small number of people. Kind of hard to talk directly through the mask. But, what I said is when I go out in public, and I'll be out in public doing some things this week, keeping a good social distance, But I think it does send the right signal to wear the mask. I think what it says is, look, I care about other people, because the masks we're wearing don't really protect us. They protect other people.
Governor, thank you so much. Best of luck in the coming days and weeks.